Here's how you can use Cassidy and AI to respond to RFPs, RFIs, and security questionnaires like these ones here automatically using AI. I'm going to show you exactly how to do this. In Cassidy, the first thing that we'll do is we're going to want to import previous RFPs and supporting documents so that our AI is able to pull from existing information and knowledge when it's answering new sets of questions as we receive these RFPs. So what we're going to do is in the knowledge base, we're going to create a collection. And we'll call it RFPs. And we can say previous RFPs and supporting documents. And we can always restrict this so that only certain people have access to this. So we can add people, add groups, etc. And we'll go ahead and click done. And now we've got an RFPs collection. What we can do from here is we can either drag and drop and upload RFPs or those supporting documents directly. We can create new ones like an answer bank, or we can sync it from our integrations. So luckily in Drive, we already have an RFP folder with a few of these documents. So we're gonna go ahead and click import on these. Of course, you can have many more. You can pull them in from all the different integrations. You're not just limited to Google Drive. Now the next step is we're gonna go to the Assistants tab here and create a new AI assistant that is connected to that knowledge and that has certain instructions to help it answer. So we can go ahead and create a custom one. So we'll say an RFP assistant that helps answer questions. We can keep it pretty basic for now. Of course, you can expand depending on, exactly how you want it to answer, what it's pulling from. You can give it as much context as you want. It'll come up with a list of questions that'll help guide it and create those instructions. For now, we'll go ahead and skip them. And now here, when it says enable question and answer mode, we're going to want to turn this on. And the distinction to make when it comes to this mode is essentially whether or not you want it to be connected to your knowledge base and search every time. And so in this case, we wanted to search our knowledge base on those previous documents. So we'll go ahead and click continue. And now we can make our selections. So I'm going to give it access to our general knowledge collection, which just has information about our company and our products. And I'm also going to go to our new collection, RFPs, and select that and click continue. And you can see here that it came up with RFP Assistant for legal software and a list of instructions, which we can make edits to, which I'll show you how to do in a second. We're going to finish and create this assistant, and we're going to go ahead and test it out. So here, I'm going to ask it a question from one of our RFPs. Let's go with this one here, description of security features. I will paste that in, and now I can hit send. So we're using our RFP assistant. It's going to search our knowledge base. So that means the general collection, our general knowledge collection, as well as our RFP collection. And you can see here that it's answering and it's citing its sources. So if we want to see where that came from, so for example, this one was for number 2. I can click this and I'll see a direct view where I can go and scan through this to see exactly where it pulled the information from. So when it comes to actually filling out the RFPs, you can think of it in 2 different ways. The first one that I'm showing right now is through the chat, which is more of a question by question basis, as in you copy and paste the question in, you get an answer. You can either paste that back into the original document, or you can use our editor here and just start compiling the list of questions and answers or just responses. Now, the other option is through workflows, and this builds on the concept of assistants. So let me show you how you can create a workflow so that you can automate your RFPs in bulk. So we're going to go in the Workflows tab and click Create New Workflow. And I'm going to go from the blank canvas so that I can just show you exactly how you can set this up. So the way that a workflow works is essentially you have a trigger and then a series of steps and actions, which are essentially blocks. And so you can see the list of them here. And so we're going to start with the trigger. And so here we've got a manual trigger. There's a bunch of different types, but for the purpose of this use case, we'll use a manual trigger. And for the input, we are going to type in something like RFP question. We'll click check mark and save it. And now we're going to add an action, which is generate text with Cassidy Assistant. And we'll select the assistant that we just created, which is RFP Assistant for legal software. And then what we have here is a prompt field. So this is essentially replicating exactly what we did with the assistant in chat, but in a workflow. And so what we have to do is ask something like, write a response to this RFP question. And then The way that we pass information from a trigger or one step to another is through this concept called variables. So we're going to insert a variable and you'll see what I mean. So here we've just entered in the RFP question. So that means that anytime someone submits a question through this form, or what I'll show you after in bulk run, it's going to pass it in to our assistant and have our assistant answer it. And so we can go ahead and test this out. Grab the same question from before. So we'll see here, copy and paste it and click run workflow. And so it's going to work exactly the same way that we just saw. So we'll see a really similar answer. We'll just give it a second. All right, so it looks like it's done running. We'll open this up and you can see that we have pretty much the exact same answer. And again, citations right then and there. Now this is really good in terms of answering one question at a time, but we could just do that in chat. The real reason that I showed you this is our bulk run feature. So here I can just add in a new view. We'll call it RFP1. And what essentially this does is that we've got different rows. So this means that for each row, we can run the same automation multiple times. I'm just going to go ahead and delete those rows that I showed. And what we're going to do instead is use the smart import feature. And so what this does is if I drag in my RFP right here into this, and it can be from any type of file. So, spreadsheets, documents, PDFs, etc. We're going to go ahead and click extract. What it's going to do is go through that RFP and bring out the list of questions, which will essentially populate that table that I just showed. So here you can see it grabbed 18 rows. If I pop this back open, you'll see that there is exactly 18 rows of questions. So once we're happy with it, we'll click save and import, and this will load it up into our table. And from here, all we have to do is click run all. Just confirm this a few times. And now we're going to see that it's going to do exactly what I just showed in terms of the single workflow run, but 18 times. And it can be up to thousands of times depending on how big your data set is. So you can see that it's loading right here and it's going ahead and answering those questions. I'll come back when it's all done. All right, here we go. So it's all done. What we can do now is expand this column and we can see all the answers. So 18 questions answered in quite literally 30 seconds. And again, you've got the citations to double check and review. But this is great for a first pass at running multiple questions at once. And you can also pop these open and make your edits directly. You can also toggle this off so that it's ready to be copy pasted into your final document. So that covers how you can use Cassidy to answer RFPs, RFIs, and security questionnaires. So to recap, you're going to want to import previous documents to use in your AI assistant, which you'll create from this tab here. You can edit it, add custom instructions so that it answers it just like how you want it to answer. And then you can use that assistant to either ask question by question in the chat, as you would with any sort of AI chatbot, or you can build a workflow like the one I showed you to be able to answer it in bulk. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to reach us using the intercom support chat that's in the bottom right corner here.